Somba na hii ni Dar24 Media. Karibu katika Sport Base ya Dar24 Media, tuzungumze kuhusiana na michezo, na leo katika studio tumepata ugeni kutoka nchini Afrika Kusini, South Africa. Tupo na mhariri mkuu wa chombo cha habari kinaitwa Far Post. Yeye anaitwa Mthokozis Dube. Amekuja kututembelea tuzungumze naye kuhusiana na mambo mbalimbali ya kimichezo, kihabari, lakini pia vile vile kikubwa zaidi kuhusiana na dabi ya Kariakoo, namna ambavyo ameona Wydad wanapokelewa na Mamelodi Sundowns pale South Africa. Maoni yake yapoje, tupate comments zake kuhusiana na final game ya Africa Football League, namna ambavyo anavyoona huu mchezo. Lakini kuna tetesi, some rumors about Ranga Chivaviro, Mohamed Nasreddine Nabi, yanayoendelea pale Afrika Kusini. Anaweza akatuambia. Karibu my brother, karibu.
Asante sana.
Uko poa?
Niko fresh.
Uko vizuri?
Niko vizuri.
Mthokozis Dube, chief editor for Far Post Media. Tell us your background and your media in Dibli.
Yeah, look, I think we are called Far Post. We are a digital media football publication. I think our focus is football. I mean, the reason that I'm here is because we love African football. You know, we want to see the game growing on the continent. So we have, we're accessible on our website, which is www.farpost.co.za. We're also available on social media platforms. We're on Instagram. I know Tanzanians love Instagram as Far Post ZA. And then we're also on Twitter. We're also on Facebook. So you can get our content, but we've also got an app. You know, on your Apple device or your Samsung or Huawei, you can actually download the Far Post app. So it's FARPOST. So yeah, you can download and follow our news. So we're a fast-growing publication, and we're on the ground.
So it's all about African football.
African football.
Why?
Because we believe that as the media, we have a role to play in the growth of the game. You know, so we do quite a number of. If you go on our website, you'll find there's a section called Football Bible. We tell untold stories. You know, we tell the story of the president of Young Africans, how he fell in love with football, how he ended up becoming a Young Africans fan. You probably don't know that story, right? Yeah. I mean, so yeah, you can find that story in our Football Bible section. We've done quite a number of other stories just about the Kariakoo Derby, the history of it. We've done an in-depth story about how Nasreddine Nabi turned around Young Africans. You know, so yeah, so we go in depth, you know, and tell those beautiful stories. Yeah.
How many staff do you have?
So we have staff complement journalists only. We have 15 journalists who are all over, you know, the country, and some who are outside, you know, the country. So yeah, so it's quite a growing team. We're still growing.
But time by time, I saw you on several countries: Tanzania, South Africa, Egypt, Morocco. You are alone?
No, so look, it sometimes you know, the other colleagues would travel to different places. I think if you probably remember the first time, it was a different guy who came to Tanzania. I don't know if you do remember. Yeah. So yeah, so we do alternate, you know. So obviously depending on your focus, but my focus is African football. You know, the others. So we have someone who focuses on a province called Limpopo. We have someone who focuses on Western Cape, which is your Cape Towns, and we have someone who focuses on Gauteng, which is Johannesburg, Pretoria. You know, someone who focuses on your Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates. So yeah, the team is divided that way. We have someone who focuses on Zimbabwe. We have someone who focuses on North Africa. So yeah, so.
Bwana ni mhariri wa mtandao wa habari na hawa wanajiita FAPOS, na wao wanajihusisha zaidi na taarifa za mchezo wa mpira miguu katika bara la Afrika. Waandishi wapo 15 na wapo katika maeneo mbalimbali kwa ajili ya kuweza kulisha umma wa watu ambao wanaofuatilia, lakini pia vile kupeleka taarifa kwa watu mbalimbali. Afrika Kusini pale wapo, mataifa mengine wapo. Nilimuuliza kwamba nimemuona katika nchi mbalimbali, sema ndio, lakini pia hata hapa Tanzania alishawahi pia kuja mtu mwingine. My brother Dube, how does the media work in South Africa?
Quite interesting because it's a bit different from Tanzania. You know, I love just learning and seeing how different it is here. So I notice here, you guys are big on, you know, video content, you know, your YouTube, your Instagram and all that. So in South Africa, it's mainly websites, you know. So, you know, besides, I think the primary one is websites. So we would go to a game, and I think after the game we obviously have a post-match press conference like you guys do. Yeah. But then what then happens is that we then take that content and we break it down into different stories, articles. So we would maybe write a story of like 300 words, and maybe have a video clip of 1 minute 30 seconds, you know, just to go with that story on social media. So yeah, it's slightly different from you. So there is a focus on the digital, and then you also have a lot of newspapers, you know. Yeah. You have Kickoff, who actually focus on football, your Sokalatuma football, FAPOS, you know, Itiski Times. So, you know, all those just focus on football, and then you have other media that focus on, you know, all sports, but they obviously cover football because a lot of people follow football. So yeah, so it's slightly different from here. So
Tanzania, YouTube, South Africa, website.
Absolutely.
Wana Afrika Kusini wao wanapenda sana machapisho ya kwenye website. Watu wanasoma sana taarifa za kwenye website. Kidogo inawezekana ikawa tofauti na Tanzania kwa namna ambavyo watu wanafuatilia katika mitandao, kwa maana kwamba YouTube na vitu vingine, magazeti hapa yapo, lakini pia wao wanadili na masuala mazima ya kuandika mechi inapoisha na kwenda katika zile press conference baada ya mechi kwa ajili ya kuweza kupata taarifa, na mwisho wa siku wanaambatanisha na you have to attach with a short video clip in your website. Yes. Yeah, kwa ajili ya kuweza kuwafikishia taarifa ambazo watu wanafuatilia. So what the different between media in South Africa and here apart from YouTube and website?
I think the difference that I see is I think Tanzania journalists are quicker, you know, in terms of, I see at the end of the game, everyone is sitting down and, you know, is working. So with us, I can write one story just on how the match went. Then I go home, the following morning I do the story. So I see here, you guys, you know, sit down there for the next, you know, 1 hour 30 after the game and just do content. Also, I see that fans are so much involved here. I see a lot of interviews that you do with fans, you know, just to find out what they think about the game and all that. But we hardly do that in South Africa, you know. So I think those are the differences that I see.
Tofauti nyingine kwa maana kwamba waandishi hapa wako sharp. Mechi kiisha watu wanachakata maudhui kwa ajili ya kuweza kupeleka kwa umma, lakini pia vile vile kwa mtu anaweza kaandika story moja akaondoka, kesho akaendelea jambo lingine. Lakini sisi namna ambavyo tunavyowahusisha mashabiki kupata maoni yao baada ya mchezo, uharaka na vitu kadha, namna ambavyo amezungumza hapa ndugu yangu Mthokozis Dube, mhariri kutoka FAPOS. What did you like the most in the media sector?
What did I learn from Tanzania?
Yeah.
Oh, look, man, I think just seeing the numbers, you know, like in terms of the people that follow, let's say, Dad24 on Instagram. It shows me that people do follow when you put out good content, you know. The importance of video content, I mean, times have changed. I mean, people want to just click and obviously read. So I think for me, it's also just merging the two you know, the video content and also the writing elements, you know, because you need to strike that balance, especially from where we come from. And also just being quick, man. I mean, it's important to be quick because things are moving so fast, and, you know, people, you don't want someone to get this video on another, you know, channel. So you want to be first. So yeah, I think those are the lessons, and also just passion, man. I mean, just the love for the game.
All right.
Yeah.
So tell us your views about Tanzania Premier League.
Look, it's quite an interesting league. I feel it's a growing league. I mean, the kind of attention that it attracts, you know, from, you know, the continent, particularly the derby. I mean, I look at the number of journalists that just come here just to watch the derby. You know, when I talk to people, yesterday I was talking to an agent who's based in Amsterdam, you know, in the Netherlands, and he was telling me, he says, hey, I would love to go for that derby. So it tells you that there's so much interest in the game. I love how the corporate world, you know, like your business people are actually coming into the game. I mean, people like Mr. Khalib, you know, coming into to back your young Africans, more, you know, Simba, and also, you know, the kind of backing that your Azam has. I think it's actually, it's good for the game, because then, you know, the game will grow, and sponsors as well. You know, you see your sports pacers, you know, across. So it looks like it's a league that's growing. A lot of, you know, quality players. I mean, look at the players that we watched in the derby. You know, Zambians. You know, your Cletus Chamas, top talents. Your Aziz Keys, you know, your Zizo. I call him Zizo after Zidane. You know, he looks like
the next Zizo.
You know, so yeah, so you can see, man, that Tanzania is attracting, you know, top talents. You know, so it would be nice to see more teams actually, you know, compete. You know, push young Africans, push Simba, you know, and push your Azam, you know. So yeah, I mean, it's quite an interesting league, man. It's growing.
What caught your attention in the Premier League?
Quite a number of things. I mean, it's the kind of coaching that I see. I mean, I think a few years ago, the first time I came to watch a derby, I think Nabi had just taken over Young Africans. And just watching that transition, you know, from, I mean, Yanga had gone 4 years without winning a trophy, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, him taking over and just, you know, transforming the team to what it became, you know, winning 6 trophies in 2 seasons, and also just seeing the rivalry between Simba and Yanga. I think it's a beautiful thing to see two teams wanting to win so much. So yeah, it's quite interesting.
So what difference did you see in the derby, unlike the derby of Simba and Yanga?
So the difference between the two derbies, I think, number one, I think it's the issue of marketing. The Soweto derby is well marketed, man. It's in terms of marketing, it's, you know, it's well marketed. The clubs go all out just to, you know, put it out there. It's a beautiful event. You know, just, you know, the event. Not necessarily the football in terms of the playing, you know. And then I'm still a bit worried about fan engagement, because, you know, in the Soweto derby you can find a Pirates fan, Chiefs fan, Pirates fan, Chiefs sitting together. They mix, yeah. So, but it's unusual for a derby, man. In the Kariako derby, it's different, man. Simba fans, younger fans, you know. So you can see that, you know, these two people are fighting. Even I was actually taking a video of fans getting into the stadium. The younger fans were standing in one queue. The Simba fans were passing that queue and going to another, you know, gate. So it shows you that there's that rivalry, you know. They don't share salt, you know. Like I also see that the Kariako derby, man. I mean, I was talking to the younger president, and he was telling me that if he had lost the game, he wouldn't be, like, you know, out in the streets. Like, it's
a very shame.
You can't lose a derby, man. You know, I think there's still that intense desire to win the derby, you know, from both sides of the team, of the teams. And also the fans are so much involved, the passion by the fans, you know, the singing during the game. And I was actually saying during the game, I'm like, yo, I wish I was actually inside these fans, you know, just to experience, you know, the feeling, man, just to be there, man. So yeah, I mean, I think those are the differences.
Wana utofauti ni mkubwa, tofauti mkubwa hata ukiangalia namna ambavyo mashabiki wakiwa wanaingia viwanjani utakuta mstari huu wa Yanga, mstari huu wa Simba kwa vile ambavyo ameona, lakini pia anazungumza na mazungumzo ana ukaribu na rais wa Yanga, anazungumza naye vingi. Bwana, unapopoteza dabi kidogo inakuwa ni changamoto kwa sababu shughuli yake ni pevu, huwezi ukapoteza dabi japokuwa kupoteza kupo kwenye mpira. Kwa hiyo alikuwa anazungumzia namna ambavyo wao wameiuza dabi yao, Soweto dabi, Kaizer Chiefs na Orlando Pirates, lakini pia kuzingatia na Tanzania vile ambavyo anapenda ule namna ambavyo Yanga walipotoka walikaa muda mrefu pasi na mataji, walipomuingiza Nabi namna ambavyo alipoitoa timu mpaka kuifikisha na mpaka hapa ilipo. So brother, let's open another chapter. So apart from all steps, so what does Simba has to do so that they can be better?
Look, man, I think I've followed from the time when Simba was actually winning, you know, the leagues, when, you know, Chama, your Miquissone were, you know, the driving forces behind the team. I feel... You
mean that season?
Yeah. Before, the season before Nabi won the first league. Yeah, so I feel that, you know, football is really an interesting game because it changes quite a lot. I mean, your competitors are forever trying to get better, you know, and there's a demand on you to constantly refresh your squad and, you know, make it better. And Riyad, top goalkeeper, you know, he can replace Ronan Williams. So that's what a competitive team, you know, should do. They should have, you know, more than one goalkeeper, man. You should at least have for each position.
But they have more than one goalkeeper. They have Hussein Abel from KMC Football Club. They have Ali Salim, number 2. He used to play and he used to prove in 2 derby at Tanga, in Dar es Salaam, and he got experience in Champions League.
I hear you, but listen, the fact that the coach did not see it fit to play Ali in that game instead of someone who's been out for 6 months must tell you something. Must tell you something. The coach must never be in a position where he feels he has to play this player because it's a big game. He must have more than one player that he can trust. You know, for me, it speaks to trust. Why wouldn't he let Aishi Manula get time to sort of recover? And, you know, for me, it tells me could be an issue of trust. Okay, it's a big game.
Maybe he trusts him because of the training ground. He saw him in a training ground.
But you can't, after 6 months of not play, you can't just walk into a team and, you know, you need to, look, you can't. After 6 months of not playing, you need to get back to your, you know, gradually, you know, get back into playing. I was actually surprised when I saw him start the game, you know. So it's for me, it speaks to the issue of squad depth, you know, where you need to, I know, I mean, I look at, let's say, young Africans. I feel also in terms of, you know, the future, besides just having a Diarra, they've got a very young goalkeeper who's
Msheri,
you know, Msheri, who's actually coming up. You know, of course they need to make sure they give him game time so that he also grows in his confidence and, you know, so yeah. I mean, I think for me it speaks constantly, you know, trying to refresh your squad and make your squad competitive, because football is not waiting. You know, people are moving. Young Africans is signing players. I mean, look at the young Africans midfield. They don't even have to have a striker. They will score goals. Those midfielders will score. I mean, look at the goals. They came from, you know, midfielders. So
Azizi, Haucho, Mudathi, Akome, Maxi, 5 midfielders.
Yeah, 5 midfielders. He gets goals from those midfield. I mean, Fiston Maele left. He scored, I think, 54 goals in the 2 seasons. No problem. They did replace him, but I mean, Fiston, he set the bar too high. It's difficult to really replace him. But those midfielders, they're scoring goals. You know, how many goals has Max Nzengeli scored? You know, how many goals has Aziz Ki scored? You know, how many goals has Pakome scored? You know, you're getting goals from your midfielders, but also the way that the coach is playing now, Miguel Gamondi, he can play with those 3 midfielders and just Awucho and Mudathir. Must tell you something, He's killed the, not playing with wingers. He's now playing with those midfield. He can't drop any of them.
You're talking something very unique. I remember the post-interview of Simba's captain, Mohamed Hussein. He used to say, we knew Yanga will use the Franks. That's why we are prepared well on the Franks. Yeah. But after the game, we see and we saw a lot of midfielder. Yeah. We are very, 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 very embarrassed.
Quite interesting because I feel Gamondi has sort of changed the way that he's playing. He's no longer playing with, your quick wingers. There's no place for them in that kind of team. So, but also just to play with those three creative midfielders. I think it's amazing. But he gets his width from Yao and the left back. You saw the first goal. Yeah, Lomalisa. Yes. You saw the first goal that came from Yao. That cross from Yao, man. I mean, it shows you that.
It was the save from Chama.
Yeah.
And the ball went directly to Yao. Yeah.
And then a cross, and then Musonda headed. So you can see where Yao is. Ordinarily, that's where your number 7 or your winger would be. But quite interesting also is that how he's changed, even the defenders at the back, where he has Baka and Dixon Job. Also opting to have Mamunyeto sit on the bench. But you see, when the fullbacks go up, Awucho also adds to these three, so you still have three. It turns into three defenders, and then you still have Mudathir, in front of him, and then it's quite interesting how he's playing.
Do you think Kibu Dennis is the backbone of Simba Sports Club?
It looks like to me, yeah. Look, he does. I mean, I watched. I think particularly in the first half, I think he looked to add a bit of a spark to Simba. So currently, I would say yes, but obviously there's other big players, in that team that obviously need to rise to the occasion and carry the team. People like Chama. I think we know what he's capable of, but those are people that can carry the team, and you would be obviously hoping. I don't know now with Miquissone coming back, he's not been the same Miquissone that we knew from back then, but I think a football team needs to have such players rise to the occasion and carry the team.
So why does the coach love Kibu Dennis?
I think it also speaks to the same thing that I was saying of having squad depth. Having a bit of a big squad where each player knows that if I don't do very well, someone else is waiting, and I'm gonna be in trouble. So I feel Simba obviously need to refresh their squad and obviously get it a bit competitive. But I think it comes with a bit of time in terms of
Moses Piri.
Good,
Zambian striker, a very good striker.
Very good striker, yeah. But I think he's had a bit of challenges, man, in terms of his consistency in Tanzania. Top quality striker, but look, also comes to the issue of continuity in terms of coaching. I mean, you look at where young Africans are now. I feel Nabi's laid a foundation. Gamondi took over a team that was, he's obviously now getting the team to play the way he wants to. But there was a foundation. From what it looks like, if they miss it again, it's 3 years. Not good enough for a big team.
So
like
definitely Simba need to reshuffle in their squad.
They definitely need to refresh, yeah, 100%. They need to refresh. I mean, constantly. Any team that wants to compete, I mean, you see Sundowns going to beat Al Ali, Simba played Al Ali, you want to compete as a big team. So, but you need to have quality players. You need to bring in quality players, new players, and constantly refresh your squad.
Do you think Simba will be competitive in Champions League?
Look, from what I watched, that game, the kind of goals that they conceded, if they go to Champions League and play the way they played, I mean, those defenders, some of the
don't compare derby with Champions League games.
Yeah.
Derby is derby.
Yeah.
Champions League.
But listen, in Champions League, you're playing some of Africa's best teams. You know, it's a very competitive. I mean, you watch Sundowns playing against Wydad on Sunday. Wydad are ruthless. You know, they will tear you apart. So when they go to Champions League and play the way they played in the derby, they have a very big problem, because that defense, some of the goals they considered, I mean, were just silly goals, man. I mean, some of the goals that I saw, I mean, there was a goal, I think there was a ball that Yanga won in their own half, and Mudathir advanced the ball, pushed it forward, and eventually led to a goal. You know, like, it's the midfield too. I don't know. I felt they were playing four defenders, and then they had two in the middle. So these two in the middle in the second half couldn't play. They couldn't, provide the balls to the forward players.
Yeah.
So if you go to Champions League, and they're obviously going to be watching that game. The teams are analyzing. Sundowns, before Sundowns play a game, they're looking at 6-7 matches of your game.
Oh.
You know, so they would be watching and thinking, oh, okay, this guy's so vulnerable. We'll finish them. So look, they would need to really work hard and sort of pick themselves up and play better in the Champions League if they want to progress.
Tell me the position for Simba Sports Club about reshuffle.
So look, it could also be an issue of how the coach wants to play. I mean, maybe then the way that they played against Yanga, therefore I felt that constantly they had two players in the midfield who were obviously overloaded. I mean, Yanga have 5 midfielders. Yeah. When they lose the ball, those 3, they also drop and they try to press and win the ball. So those 2 men couldn't function. So it could also be an issue of maybe changing the way that they play, because I mean, that's football, man. I mean, sometimes a coach would study and know how you're playing and decide, listen, we're going to make sure that Cletus Chama, doesn't play. We're going to make sure that this one doesn't play. And so maybe it could also be an issue of just, changing around the way that, they play and, trying out something different. Yeah.
Bwana Dube anakwambia Simba wanahitaji kufanya maboresho katika kikosi chao, lakini pia hata akimzungumzia Miquissone, huyu sio yule ambaye alimuona, lakini kuna mahali ambapo wanahitaji kurekebisha, na kwamba ametaja kwamba Yanga wakati anacheza Mwamieto alikuwa yuko benchi, na hata mchezaji unapocheza uamini kwamba kuna mchezaji pia ana ubora kama mimi yuko benchi, kwa kwamba ninapozingua ama ninapofanya tofauti kuna mwingine anaisubiri hii nafasi, kuliko kuwa na wachezaji ambao wao lile daraja la nje, hata kama wakiingia kutokuwa na tofauti sana. Lakini pia amezungumzia swala zima namna ambavyo walivyocheza Simba na Yanga, kujaza viungo wengi katika ule mchezo tofauti na Simba, na kama unaenda kucheza katika michuano ya kimataifa, nikapewa na kuna tofauti dabi na michuano ya kimataifa, kwa wana sometimes kama Sundowns wanakufuatilia, Mamelodi wanakuangalia kwamba 1 2 3, basi naenda kuhakikisha kwamba labda Chama acheze, fulani acheze, na mwisho wa siku wanakuwa waweza kama kushika. Apart from Simba and Yanga, do you think the Soweto derby has improved?
Has improved? Oh, look, I think football in general, the standard of football in terms of the playing, fans come to the stadium to watch the game being played. So the two teams have not won the league in quite a long time, not doing very well. Sundowns are dominating, obviously. Kaizer Chiefs right now are number 8 on the log. Orlando Pirates are number 13 on the log. So not doing very well, man. So it's, the Soweto derby is nicer when you know that if I win this game, I'm actually going to be number 1. I mean, just like Simba and Yanga. I mean, going into that game, they, I think they were on the same number of points, if I'm not mistaken. So Yanga knew if we win this game, we are actually at the top, by 3 points ahead of Simba. Yeah. And Simba knew if we win, we actually go above Yanga and Simba. But that's not the case. The Soweto derby is being played on Saturday, and Orlando Pirates is number 13 at the bottom. Kaizer Chiefs is number 8. Oh. So even if you get it, like, so it takes away that competitive edge of the game. So I feel it's not improved. It's not improved in terms from a playing point of view, but it still remains the marketing still top. You know, the stadium will be full. You know, 80,000 people, the FNB stadium. So, yeah.
What had made the number of fans decrease in the matches?
Football fans come to the stadium for entertainment. Football is entertainment. Yeah. They come to the game to enjoy football. So when teams are not doing very well, not playing, I mean, Kaizer Chiefs are not playing very well. They're not doing very well. They're not playing well. I think you saw when they came to play Young Africans, yes, during the Wananchi Day. Yeah, yeah. So they're not playing very well. So fans tend to stay away when a team is not doing well. I mean, same as Orlando Pirates. They've not won the league in such a long time. Of course, they've won a few cups in the last 2 seasons. But that's not enough. Football is entertainment. We go to the stadium to be entertained. I came here because the Kariako Derby entertains me. I see, you know,
our culture.
Exactly. So yeah, I believe that's the reason.
Dube, what has to be done to improve your league that used to be the best before?
Look, the biggest thing I think in football is coaching. I mean, right now, Kaizer Chiefs fired their coach after 4 months in charge, and everyone is looking and thinking, okay, who's going to take over and become the next coach of Kaizer Chiefs? When you look through locally in South Africa, you can't really find someone that you'd say, okay, he can coach this team.
So that's why they need Nabi.
So you need to go and find a Nabi, you need to go and find a Benshika, you need to go and find you know, someone else from outside, man. Okay. So yeah, look, at the end of the day, I think football, to play good football and get results and build a good team, you need a good coach, you know. So I think it should start there.
Dube, tell us what we don't know about Mamelodi Sundown.
Mamelodi Sundown.
First of all, tell us the meaning of Masandawana.
Masandawana means, so it's short for Sundowns, Sandawana. So Masandawana are, you know, more like Wananchi, you know, Wananchi. Okay, you know. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Masandawana are the Sundowns, you know, fans. So it's plural for Sandawana. Yeah.
What do we don't know about Mamelodi?
There's quite a lot that you don't know about Sundowns, man. It's you know, people see Sundowns playing football and enjoying themselves, but I think it's a club. They've done a lot of things right in terms of scouting. Top. I don't think in Africa.
How many scouts are there?
Sundowns, they have quite a number of scouts, man. So they have someone who focuses on the South American markets. I mean, you see they've got quite a number of South American talents. Top. Marcelo Allende, former Arsenal trialist, top. You know, one of the best players in the league. You got Lucas Carlos Ribeiro, top Brazilian quality. Gaston Serino, you know, Uruguay, top quality. So you can see that the scouting network is quite vast. They've got someone who does Africa, they've got someone who does the local league, they've got someone who does the Mutsepe Foundation Championship, which comes after the DSTV Premiership. They've got someone who monitors their players who are on loan. They've got someone who basically they're data driven. They look at data in terms of, you know, how a player is doing. They've got people that basically help the coach in terms of the scouting the opponent. I mean, before Sundowns play Al Ali, someone is in Egypt, in Cairo, a week before, or, you know, days before they are watching this team. So that's how Sundowns are, I think, are properly structured. They've had the same coaches for the last, since 2012. Pitso Msimane took over 2012 December, rebuilt the team, left in 2020. His assistants, Mangoba Mngiti and Rulani Mkwena, took over after him. They'd been with him for all that time. Now Rulani is now in charge. So there's that continuity in terms of coaching, you know. Same, they've got an identity. I mean, we know how Sundowns play, bruh. We know when they lose the ball, they'll fight and get the ball quickly. You know, we know. So they've got that right. They've got that. Their scouting is on point. you know, the players come in and they do very well. Sundowns, I mean, they're going to be, they would go to, for example, when they went to sign Gaston Serino, they went to Bolivia where he was playing, and they spent quite a lot of time. Pito Msimane, Walter Steinbock was a scout, and Ezra Mnandoro, who's a former player of Sundowns. So they went there, they spent time, they watched him, 2 games, they traveled to another city, watched him. So that's how they scout. They don't just, an agent comes and says, yeah, he is a player. No. And they also look at the data, and this is why when Sundowns sign a player, they come in and they make an impact instantly. Marcelo Allende is probably one of the best players in the South African League. Lucas Ribeiro Costa, unfortunately the injury kept him out for quite a while, but he's done very well. The Moroccan defender, AB, quality, man.
Somebody Mudau.
Oh, Sailor, we call him Sailor.
Sailor.
Quality player, man. I think one of the best defenders on the continent. He's top talent, man. I think he's done very well.
He's a star even in Tanzania.
Oh, man, Sailor is good. Ronan Williams. I mean, they signed Ronan Williams last year from SuperSport. Quality goalkeeper. In terms of, I was arguing with a Ugandan journalist who was saying that Dennis Onyango is being mistreated, he's not being played. I said, brah, have you watched Ronan Williams? Yeah. Have you seen how Ronan Williams plays the ball? Have you seen how he plays? Oh, man, top, man, top. 2 penalties saved in the AFL, you know. So, yeah, quality, man. So you can see the squad, the Sundown squad. Each position, there's 3 players. I can count them for you. 3 players for each position. That's how much depth they have. Yeah, they've got a lot of players on loan in other teams who are doing very well. You know, their strikers, some of the best on the corner. Peter Shaluli Lebra, I mean, he's top. He's top. So yeah, I mean, I think the Sundowns have done extremely well, man. They've got a good coach, young coach, you know, very modern coach. He's growing. Rulani Mokoena, top, you know. So yeah, I mean, we admire what they've done.
Is it true Mamelodi is the most fed team in Champions League from South Africa for nowadays?
100%, man. I mean, Rulani Mokoena has been head coach of Sundowns for 1 year. On Sunday was the first time he was losing a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So remember last season when they played Wydad, it was 2-2 in Pretoria and 0-0 in Casablanca. So obviously Wydad went through because of away goals. So he lost for the first time last Sunday
against Wydad.
Yeah.
In Africa Football League.
So yeah. So look, it tells you that there's something else, man. There's something else. Not easy to play. Al Ali came, they got 5 in Pretoria. You know, you don't give Al Ali 5 unless you're really good. Al Ali, even now, I mean, they knocked Al Ali out. By the way, Sundowns have 10 players who are out, injured. 10 players who can start for Sundowns who are injured. I mean, their strikers, the front 3, Abubakar Nazir, the Ethiopian, Lucas Ribeiro Costa injured, Shaluli injured. So they don't have any striker. They've been playing without a striker, playing with the false 9. So can you imagine if those players were available, you know, against Wydad? And I'm praying that they would be available for the second leg because I would really love to see how it ends in Pretoria on Sunday.
Wanadubi anakwambia ni mwaka sasa Rulani Mokoena tangu akabidhiwe timu amepoteza hivi karibuni tu mchezo dhidi ya Wydad katika mchezo wa African Football League na unaweza ukaona namna ambavyo anavyokiendesha kikosi, anavyokinoa kikosi kwa muda mrefu huo kupoteza goli moja si kitu haba. Brother, why did Mamelodi make their match against Wydad free?
Look, I think the idea is obviously to make sure that the stadium is full, because when you go to North Africa, man, you find the stadium is packed. You know, fans are singing throughout the game, intimidating players. So Sundowns also want to create that kind of environment when Wydad come to Pretoria on Sunday. But obviously, you know, sometimes look in South Africa, sometimes fans, when you say they pay, sometimes they don't come to the stadium, you know. So when you make the game free, then, you know, they'll obviously come. I mean, we've seen the national team Bafana play, and there's less than 1,000 fans in the stadium, you know. So I think it's a culture thing, man. So when the match is free, people then would come to the stadium.
Okay, and is it true that the style of playing of Southern African teams, especially Mamelodi, Orlando, Kaisha, is awkward for to Northern African country teams?
No, not African teams struggle against teams that play. North African teams, football they play is. We call it route one in South Africa, the long balls, the cross, and so that's how North Africans play. But now when they meet a team that actually plays football, they really struggle. I've seen them struggle.
Tell us your views about the coming finals of the African Football League in South Africa.
Yeah, it's a massive match, man. I mean, we did Sundowns final. I think it's big. It's a big match. I don't think the organizers of the competition would be crying because they saw the brand of football that the two teams played in the first leg in Casablanca. It shows you how competitive the competition has been. I mean, it's 8 of some of the best teams on the continent. Now you're left with 2. A Sundowns team that wants to win it, a Wydad team that wants to win it. We're leading 2-1 going into the second leg. Look, I think it's going to be a beautiful game. It's going to be a very good game.
Mamelodi will use this game just like revenge to Wydad?
Definitely. Because last year, when they were knocked out of the Champions League by Wydad, it was painful.
Yeah.
For me as well, sitting on the stands and seeing this thing,
come on. And
they conceded a goal late in the second half. And obviously they wanted to, get one over Wydad this time around. And, they're trailing 2-1, it's halftime. In Pretoria, they need to.
So what does Mamelodi have to do in this game?
I'm praying that Lucas Ribeiro Costa and Peter Shalulile will be back. I was actually texting someone from Sundowns before I came in. I'm asking, hey, bro, is Lucas Ribeiro and Shalulile, they need those 2 players. Sundowns can win this game if they have those 2 strikers, because they need goals. They're going to they'll create. Dominating that game, they'll dominate. But they need someone who score the goals. But obviously, Wydad are a very good team, so yeah, it's going to be a very tough one.
Tell me something about Ranga Chivaviro's performance on Kaisha Chiefs.
Look, Ranga, I was actually talking to a young Africans player, and he was saying to me, if only Ranga came here, he would be enjoying himself, because of the way the young Africans play.
Yeah.
I mean, with the 3 attacking midfielders, and
very creative. Very
creative. I think Ranga would be walking on water, man. He would be enjoying his football. Unfortunately, the move didn't materialize. He's at Kaisha Chiefs now. I feel the way that Kaisha Chiefs have played, this season so far, does not suit how Ranga plays. So Kaisha Chiefs are playing with pace on the wings. Not much crosses going in. Not enough creativity. Sometimes they play without a number 10, like a proper number 10 to create. So Ranga has not scored a goal since he joined Kaisha Chiefs. But also it's been affected by injuries. And so I feel it's going to be a bit tough for him. But he'll probably be hoping that the new coach, Kevin Johnson, sort of plays in a way that allows him to also get involved and get goals. But he's a good player, man. He's a quality player.
The response of Yanga's president about Ranga Chivaviro's deal?
Look, obviously disappointing, man. I mean, negotiations, obviously happened. Ranga was, when he was leaving Marumo, there were talks between his management team and young Africans. But unfortunately, this thing didn't happen. And obviously, it was disappointing because they were looking to find someone who would replace Fiston. Of course, I mean, Fiston is amazing, man. Replacing him is difficult.
So now Chivaviro is feeling guilt?
Not really, man.
To be honest.
I mean, Kaisha Chiefs is a big team, man. It's a massive team. Isn't it massive
Comparing the performance of Yanga for nowadays and Kaisha?
Look, he'll probably be thinking, I could be killing it there in Tanzania. Also, the love that young Africans fans have shown Ranga, when he came here, singing his name, can you imagine if he was here and scoring goals? Then it would be different. So I'd imagine he's probably thinking, "Ish, I wish I could have."
So probably on next transfer window, maybe you came for Yanga.
Yeah, it would be difficult because he's a contract now with Kaizer Chiefs. You know, so he signed.
It's the longest one.
I think a 2-year deal. So if they are to get him, they'll have to pay for him. Unless, but the two clubs are. I mean, they met earlier during Mwanachi Day, so I suppose they're now, you know, good friends, and they could actually, you know, talk and say, hey, give us this guy on loan, and you know.
Okay, I have two last question. Do you know somebody, Helmi Gwedichi, former Yanga's C physio?
Yeah, I do. Top professional, man. He's with Orlando Pirates, conditioning coach. Very, very good conditioning coach. I think Orlando Pirates, obviously knowing the work that he did with young Africans, they decided to bring him over to sort of strengthen, you know, their team. And I think the nice thing at Orlando Pirates, I think he works with the team, so it's not necessarily him alone doing the conditioning, but he works with within a team. So he's making very good contributions to the team. Yeah, making good contributions to the team.
Simba, they need somebody like that.
Look, I mean, any team. I mean, football has gone the you know, that direction. Any good team needs a good conditioning coach. I mean, because then players will be unfit, players will be getting injuries, and because of poor conditioning. So, absolutely, they need someone like that.
Brother, I need your views about Tanzanian player who plays for Chippa United. The midfielder Baraka Gamba Majogoro. I've watched him. He's actually won, if I remember well, he's won 2 Men of the Match awards. I think that tells you that he's a very good player. I mean, I think he's done very well. He plays in a team that constantly changes coaches. I mean, Chippa can change 5 coaches in one season. So I'm happy for him, and that he started off you know, very well with Chippa. A very important player in their midfield. You know, I usually just look at the team each time they put it out, you know, because of my love for Tanzania, man. And I've been reaching out to him and saying, when he comes to Johannesburg, I want to sit down with him and just have a chat with him. But I think he's doing well for himself, and look, the sky is the limit for him. All right.
Yeah.
Bwana, nilikuwa na Dube kutoka Far Post kutoka nchini Afrika Kusini. Tumezungumza mengi kuhusiana na kile ambacho kwa upande wa Ranga Chivaviro, kwa maana kwamba hata wachezaji wa Yanga wanasema kwamba Ranga angekuja angeenjoy namna ambavyo anavyocheza. Tumezungumzia kuhusiana na fitness coach wa Orlando Helmi Gwedichi ambaye alikuwa akiinoa Yanga, namna ambavyo anavyoendelea vizuri na kazi yake huko Afrika Kusini. Mtanzania mwenzetu Baraka Gamba Majogoro pia ambaye anacheza katika klabu ya Chippa United ya pale Afrika Kusini. Mengi tumezungumza namna ambavyo kikosi kilivyo, Mamelodi, mchezo wa finali ambao utakaofanyika pale Afrika Kusini, performance ya kocha wao Roland Mukwena. Huyu ni mwandishi wa habari na mdau wa michezo, amekuwa akifuatilia vizuri ligi kuu soka Tanzania bara na mengi anayafahamu. Ametupa madini ya kutosha. Imani yangu kile ambacho amekizungumza kwa muda mrefu kimekutosheleza wewe. Sina la ziada, kilichobaki ni kumshukuru na kumtakia kila laheri katika safari yake. Brother, you're going to watch the Yanga's game against Coastal Union at Tanga. Yeah, you love Tanzania. Unaenda Tanga. Brother, thank you for your time. Your last words to your fans, to your Far Post audience.
Yeah. Oh, look, I think please do follow Far Post and you know, to support us, read our content and share our content. We love you so much, Tanzania. Naipenda Tanzania.
Awe mshishi. Mimi natasomba nyuma kamera alikuwa Isa Manoti pamoja na Emmanuel Kabigi. Mpaka wakati ujao. Bye bye.